Today is May 11th, and sorry for my scratchy voice today. I'm fighting a cold. Here's a thought to start today's pause and listen from Proverbs 8, verse 34 and 35. In this passage, wisdom is personified. Wisdom speaks to us as if it were another person talking to us. And wisdom says, "Blessed are those who listen to me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at my doorway. For those who find me find life and find favor from the Lord." Father, as we listen to you now, give us understanding and insight, and just help us to increase in wisdom that comes from you. And we choose to wait for it. We refuse to rush off or to jump to conclusions. I want to return to the story of Deborah that we looked at last Sunday on Mother's Day. She was one of the judges that led Israel during the 400 years before Saul became the first anointed king of Israel. And during that time, Israel went through multiple cycles of following the Lord and then again drifting far away from him. They cycled through times of peace and blessing, followed by very dark, evil, oppressive, and painful times. And Deborah was called and equipped by God to do something during one of those dark times. And in Judges chapter 5, it says that village life ceased. It ceased in Israel until I, Deborah, arose, until I arose a mother in Israel. The mother in her rose up, and she did what mothers do. She was available to serve the children of Israel. And just imagine, for the streets to be empty, for shops to be closed, it must have been a very fearful and depressing time. The text tells us that Israel had been severely oppressed for 20 years. You can just imagine the various places around a village where maybe men discussed the weather and the price of wool, or women would debate the best way to bake bread. And there might be an empty lot where children would laugh and play and creatively dream up ways to be mischievous. All of that, all of those places now quiet, almost like a ghost town. And then Deborah steps up and takes the initiative to make a difference. I wonder where around me, in my neighborhood, in my community, in my church, are there places where life has ceased? I encourage you to just pause and think about it for a moment. Where in your relationships, in your circles of influence, is there a place where fear and maybe depression has taken over? Life has disappeared, or life is in the process of gradually disappearing more and more. I'm thinking right now of a place where I know life is lacking. I've seen the evidence. I've heard the reports. And it's a place where I can have an impact. And so I'm praying for the courage and the wisdom to step up and be available to make a difference, even in a small way. So Lord, help me to make the call. And the story of Deborah is applicable for both men and women, no matter how you are gifted and equipped. You might want to go back and reread Judges 4 and 5, those two chapters, and just pausing at key phrases to let the Lord use her story to maybe reshape your own story. I encourage you to pause and listen to the Lord and see what he would say to you.